Welcome to the Rugged Angel podcast. I am Camila, and I will be your cruise director for this journey. It's a bit of news here. We're now on iTunes. Yay! So if iTunes is how you prefer to get your podcasts, head on over there, look up Rugged Angel, that's one word, Productions, and you can subscribe, rate, and review, please. That'd be awesome. If you don't like iTunes, we're still on SoundCloud. Don't worry, it's cool. If you know a woman that I should talk to, I should get on the show, or if you're that woman that I should talk to and get on the show, I want you to get at me. How can you get at me? By Facebook, Rugged Angel Productions, or by Twitter, _Rugged Angel, or by email, ruggedangel@gmail.com. So yeah, I want to hear about her. I want to hear about you. Talk to me. Let's work this out. This is episode 5, and it's with Miss Tressa DiGiulio. She's one of the producers for No Name Players and SWAN Day Pittsburgh. She's also an actress who has a live sitcom happening on a regular basis at Arcade Comedy Theater in downtown Pittsburgh. She's hilarious, delightful, intelligent. She's just a hoot to talk to, and I hope you enjoy our conversation as much as I did. The words I would like to leave you with today: don't ruin a good today by thinking about a bad yesterday. Let it go. Now let's get into the show. Love it. Tressa DiGiulio. Tressa DiGiulio. Hi, welcome.
Hi.
Welcome to the Rugged Angel podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are guest number 5.
I like that.
Yeah?
Number 5.
It's a good
I like
number
it.
for you?
It's a good number.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good.
I know you met a family of deer.
The
on your way
entire
here.
family of deer. The entire family. 3 little ones in the road. Not moving. Kind of looking back like, hey, what up? I'm still going.
Yeah, they're, I guess they're urban deer, because there's also the urban turkey who don't move when you try to go on them, and they scare the hell out of me. The turkey, I am really frightened of them.
Because they're big. I mean, they're, right?
Yeah.
They're kind of big as far as...
And plus,
bigger
I
than you
just
think.
feel like it's just it's weird for me to see them like in the street, and it just really, it unnerves me, and I just don't like it at all.
That's true. It's a little unsettling. Wait, that is a turkey?
Yes.
It's a turkey. Great. Excellent.
But the deer I'm okay with, as long as like I'm cruising by slow. And sometimes I feel like a Disney princess when you see the deer.
Frolicking about smiling.
Yes, every once in a while a rabbit will come through. And
The bluebirds, are there birds
yes,
involved?
exactly.
There have to be
If I can
birds.
get them to clean the house, that would be awesome.
See, now we're talking.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
All right, so we are going to talk about you
Okay.
and why you're such a rugged angel. Let's start with the early years. Where did you grow up?
Oh my. So I grew up in Pittsburgh in
All
the North Hills.
Okay.
I went to Hampton High School. Well, I went to a little tiny Catholic school called Providence Heights Alpha, which is actually on LaRoche College's campus.
Okay.
There's the big Mother House building that has the big, what's that called?
Steeple?
I'm gesturing. For those of you, I'm
is the
actually
church.
making
This
the
is the
steeple
steeple.
gesture and couldn't think of the word. In that building, where a lot of the sisters live in there, but there's a Catholic school in there that's maybe, I don't know, 1/8 the size of the whole building.
Really?
Yeah, and there were 13 of us in my 8th grade class, but
Oh,
that's where I
man.
went to grade school.
Really?
And
So that was
then,
what, like kindergarten through 8th?
first through 8th.
First
yeah.
through 8th.
And then I went to Hampton High School.
Huh. Wow, 13 people in your class.
11 girls, 2 boys.
That must have got catty.
Yeah, it
Go-
was. But yet, although there was a closeness there for that reason, because it actually ended up being almost like a family in a way.
Yeah.
I think, because the whole way, I mean, we had all those years going up, leading up to 8th grade, the classes were a little bigger, but never really more than maybe, I don't think, 16 or 17. So it was kind of the same. So yeah, there's a lot. That age is really tough.
Yeah.
But by the end,
Like you all
know,
had kind of grown up together.
yeah, and a few of us got together. I guess already it was a couple of years ago that hadn't seen each other since 8th grade, really,
Oh,
because
really?
I was the only one who went to Hampton right after. So, and then once that starts, you're kind of
Right.
all your separate ways. But it had been all those years, but it was nice. So, so I think ultimately, though, there was that connection and that bond there.
Huh. Well,
because it was such a unique experience.
yeah, I could. Yeah. No, I couldn't imagine being in such a small.
It was, and the thing too. So the Sisters of Divine Providence is the order there. So all the nuns are living in the mother house, and so part of our school life. I mean, of course, Catholic school, so we would have mass every month or whatever it was. But so there were actually, I think, 2 churches in that structure, but the nuns were also living there. So, we'd be during class, going to class, but then when it was lunchtime, we would go down, and then some of the nuns would be across in their cafeteria eating, and there were always sisters around who weren't the teaching sisters, just they were in their house.
So you're it was a full blown Catholic school, because I went to Catholic school like from kindergarten all through high school.
Oh yeah, okay.
And we didn't have none. Like we had some here or there, but it wasn't like the full blown all the teachers were nuns. And
yeah, it was the real. And then it was all when I was there. It was all the teachers were nuns except for one, Mrs. C, Karen Cordaro, who runs Act One Theater School.
Oh,
which I went to and I teach there now.
Oh,
but that's actually where it started. Before it became Act One, she started just teaching acting classes after school.
Really?
And that's what it was for a few years. It was just she would put these plays up at Alpha.
That's
and then she developed Act One out of that. So it's all nuns and Mrs. C. It's like the cool,
That's awesome. Is that where the acting bug started for you?
Yes, in first grade.
Really?
Yeah.
What was your first production in front of
I
folk?
believe it was The Magic Show. This is one of those compilation, written by Karen Cordaro. And yes, so it was a compilation of things. I'm pretty sure that was the first one in first grade. The next year was Wizard of Oz.
Oh, and you played?
I was Toto.
And
of course, I still have the costume. I probably still fit in it, but I haven't gotten any taller. But it was, and actually we called it Rainbow Connection. Because she used all these different
you didn't have
elements.
The clearance.
It was
so you guys didn't,
now that I think of it, I'm
they couldn't purchase
she had
the
no
rights.
budget, right? She had nothing. When you think about it, it was this little school, right? But yeah, she had all these different elements. But my favorite, so when Dorothy was in Kansas, her dog was, a little stuffed dog that was in her basket. But when she got to Oz, lifelike.
Nice.
And I came running out.
I like that. A little change.
Right? And also at the end, when she wakes up back in Kansas, she still has on the ruby slippers. So maybe it really happened.
Oh.
That's my actual favorite part of it. Right?
Oh my God.
See?
Mind blown.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it right there.
So did you carry on with in high school? Were you still the drama kid?
I was. Yeah, because at that point, so I was doing Act One, and then I played basketball through 8th grade. I love playing basketball. And I was going to play in high school, but it conflicted with the musical.
Time to make a choice.
I had to make that choice.
And you chose the musical.
I did indeed.
What was the musical?
The first one was Once Upon This Mattress. Yeah.
That sounds racy.
It's, hey now, that's why I was I'm doing that show. Forget this basketball stuff. It is time. It is. That's actually. I love that show. It's a Princess and the Pea sort of situation.
Okay. Once again, didn't have the rights to.
It's a theme, even Hampton High. That was good. Yeah. So So I kind of kept going.
Was Hampton a big high school, or is it?
No. Again, Hampton, when I was there, I think there were 165 in my class. I think it's a little bigger now, but it's still not huge. It's not. Yeah. In that area, if you're in the North Hills, you have NA a lot bigger. Other schools around it are bigger than it is. Yeah. So I know it's bigger now, but still not huge.
Yeah, but 165. That's a good number.
Yeah, I thought
for
so.
A graduating class.
It felt. Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, it's enough. It's not overwhelming.
Yeah,
and there's plenty for variety.
Exactly.
I think when I went to high school, our class was the biggest class freshman year going in. We had 400 some odd kids.
Oh my gosh.
But by the time we graduated, it was 200 something.
Wow.
So yeah. So it was always a lot of people around, and I would have liked it much better. It had been a little less, I think.
Yeah.
But so did you stay in Pittsburgh for college, or did you?
I went to Penn State.
Okay. And what did you study? Drama?
I did. I studied theater, and I knew. At that point, Penn State's musical theater program was really just getting started.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's grown to this fantastic program. But I knew in high school I was doing musicals, but that I preferred straight theater for me. And I've always felt the most comfortable with the acting element.
Okay.
Like I could sing okay, and I was never like a dancer. I mean, I could get away with it, right? Or whatever. I wasn't like the triple threat, but I could do it. And I was actually always really self-conscious about singing.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, I could get up in front of a million people and act or talk or whatever, but once singing, I was like, oh, no, this is not a good idea for anyone. So it took a lot more to like, and I think part of it was probably just training. You know, now the students I have, there's so much, it's wonderful, but they start so young and they have the training of it and and so it's just, I think, you have a confidence from an earlier age.
Yeah.
And so it's probably why, I started acting so young that I felt like, oh, okay, I'm comfortable with this. But there weren't necessarily the singing lessons or, it was just, I was just in musicals, so I would sing and do it. But maybe that's what it was.
Formal training.
Maybe, yeah.
That makes sense.
I was more self-conscious about it or something. But yeah, I knew that straight theater, for me, I love going, musicals and I appreciate them. But for me, it was kind of like, that sinking my teeth into something that was straight theater. I just kind of, with the roles, I just connected to it more.
Yeah, it also kind of, to me, it just seems like you're really getting into your character. I mean, not to say like musicals you aren't. I don't know if I'm saying this properly, but it's just more like, I mean, you're depending more on the character and you portraying their development and, that the feeling they're trying to get across. Because a lot of times, songs are, I don't want to say it's like the easy emotion pull, but like sometimes it is like I'm quicker to cry over somebody belting out like a sweet ballad or something, or really belting it out, as opposed to, just to be moved by someone else's emotions or their words or what they're doing with their body and whatnot. Yeah,
it's so interesting because there is, when you have that music, it's this help of, okay, so here's what the composer, here is what he or she thinks, right? Or, so here, and as they're putting together the words, like, oh, and so when it crescendos here, and when there's a key change here, and and it's wonderful in that way, because you can go, oh, I have ideas now, or, not now, but I mean, like, oh my gosh, this helps me, or this, and this is part of what you have to match up with as the actor, like, oh, right, so why did they write it this way?
Right.
And so that is true. So when you have the music, it's actually that additional sort of,
it's a little nudge,
helper maybe, yeah. As opposed to the word, I mean, having the words, but being like, Now, of course, the playwright, it's all there, but that's an interesting, I never quite thought of it that way.
I mean, not to discount singers and people, I mean, because I can't do it. So
and it's amazing.
I am well enough for karaoke, but I'm not going to get on stage and do all of that.
And it is impressive. And when someone, and for me, it's always, they're so, I mean, you can have these incredible voices that are just unbelievable. But to me, it's the actors who, what's so important is that they're invested as the actor part of when they're acting the heck out of something. I'd rather, there are lots of gorgeous voices, but I'd rather hear a voice that isn't as gorgeous as the next if they are so just acting the heck out of it. Is how I think of it. You know what I mean? There's that, that different, I don't know, but it's all impressive.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So impressive.
Okay, so No Name Players.
Yes.
Tell me about No Name Players. When did it start? What is your role?
Okay.
How long have you been involved?
Sure. So, No Name Players was founded in 2000 by Don DiGiulio when he was at Marshall University.
Okay.
When he was studying there. That is in West Virginia.
Oh.
So he was studying there, and the impetus for him was to give students more opportunities to perform, basically. And as he tells it, he was fortunate enough to be cast in a lot of the shows while he was there, but not everyone was, and that's always how it is, right?
Right.
and a lot of his friends who, he thought, oh no, what can I do? So he just formed this company and rented a separate space that in town there, and would just put on shows, I think just for weekends. I mean, even is what they did, but that's where, and the name No Name Players came from the idea of not the big names, but we're all, and the idea of everybody is the same, and the names don't, shouldn't mean as much, kind of thing. Yeah.
So did you join? Is this how you met Don? Or
no, we actually met. So they then came back to Pittsburgh, and so the company came with him, basically. And we met doing a play at Pittsburgh Playwrights Theater.
Okay.
And that's how we initially met. And then we did that, and then it was during that time that he was holding auditions for a No Name Players show. And yeah, and he asked me, he said, "You should come out and audition for this." All right. And so I did. And and
Audition for the role of my girl. Oh, there's also this other thing in the play too.
yeah, I mean, if you want to read it from the actual script, that's fine too. Yeah, so when I went and auditioned, and we weren't dating at the time yet, actually, and then we did that. That was Big Love, so that was 2004, and that was actually named one of the top 10 plays of the year that year, and it was the first show that he'd done in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it was a blast. It was so much fun. And the next year is when I actually came on as a producer, joined him, and so we started to run the company together. Excellent. In 2005. Yeah.
Now, do you guys write plays?
Well, this year, we just started with this live sitcom, this live monthly sitcom that we're doing, because I've always written, but kind of tucked things away and haven't really done much with it. And I had this idea for a while, and it was just one of those things this fall where I was like, you know what, it's time.
Yeah.
Why not?
You got to do it. You got to finally let it out. I mean, if you're already got it going, you're already doing it, you're already putting it out there, it's time to just let everybody else be a part of it as well.
Right. So. It's time. All right, everyone, come on in.
So what's the name of the sitcom?
The
live sitcom.
Live sitcom. It's called The Sisters Sorella. For those of you who speak Italian, Sorella is sister in Italian, so it's the sister's sister. Our little fun play
cute.
There. Adorable, I know. So the conceit of it is it's three sisters. It's based in Pittsburgh, and they're the second, third generation Italian in here. And part of that is for me. So I'm Irish Italian, and my grandparents, my great grandparents all came over from Italy. But just that part of it for me was for both sides of my family, just these big families that are, and all similar, a lot of talking, a lot of eating, a lot of all of the things. And especially the Italian side, and I think specifically to Pittsburgh, there is that, that community there. So that idea is in there. That's their background. But they've, the two sisters have been living together, and the third sister, who's the one that I play, the oldest one, comes back. She's been off and married, and the marriage has gone awry, and so she's come back. So now the three of them are living together. So that's the basic conceit of it, is now they're all living together, and she's been a little more estranged. So so that's the idea. And so every month is a different episode.
Yeah.
And and so it's an experiment. That's part of it, is we don't know. We've had the first episode was in January, and the next one is February 27th and 28th. And then we have one at the end of March. And it was, the first one went really well and was received really well, but now it's really the experiment begins of, will people come back? And people right after the first one bought their tickets for the next one or the next one. Like they were like, oh yeah, I want to keep, but it's okay. So it begins, and they're pretty single serving on purpose. So you don't have to have seen all of them. You can drop in and it'll be fine. The episode itself will serve.
Gotcha.
It helps if you've seen.
Right.
But we're filming them all. And then, so like we filmed the first one and we just put it up on YouTube so you can watch it before you come to the next one. Because obviously we want people to come to it because it's meant to be this live idea. But if you miss it.
Is there like audience interaction or anything like that? Or?
Not during the show. There are, the audience always gets a little surprised. Like the first episode, it was, during the show, the sisters were making sauce and they were talking about meatballs, a long story. And so during one of the breaks, we brought everybody sauce and meatballs and Mancini's bread. And,
oh, nice.
Yeah, so every show, there's something,
so
pretty much something will happen.
That's why you go to the show, guys. You get some free meatballs and sauce.
That's right. Something, you will get something.
And this is at Arcade Comedy Theater in downtown Pittsburgh.
Yes, indeed.
Is there a specific website for?
Well, our website, nonameplayers.org, will tell you about it, but you can also go to ShowClicks for tickets.
Okay.
And tickets are only $10.
Oh, that's great. How long are the shows?
Ours is about an hour, and the
that's a good time.
At this point, the first 6, because we've booked the first through June, all of the dates. The 10 o'clock show, because Arcade always has an 8 o'clock and a 10 o'clock on Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay.
So we start at 10 and pretty much done a little after 11, because we also have live commercial breaks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we have some are improv based, some are, but well, basically improv. Yeah.
Are they real commercials or are these?
They are no.
Okay.
Real for our sitcom. They are.
Okay.
And so with the first one, Connor McCandless and John Feitner. We're doing them, and then we have John Feitner and Missy Moreno is going to join us, and so it's
that's awesome. Yeah, those guys are hilarious.
They're so funny, and so that's part of it too. That's what makes it this unique
Yeah.
thing as well, is that in between we actually have these live commercial breaks.
I have to make sure I come out for one because I definitely want to see this happening, because it sounds like it's right up my alley.
Yeah. And the other sisters, Juliana Volio and Maggie Carr, they're so hilarious. So
Are they all Pittsburgh original?
They are all Pittsburgh original.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it. There's so much going on in Pittsburgh right now. There's
gosh.
so much art and creativity. And
In all the different ways. I mean, it is. It's overwhelming in a good way, though, because it's like I can't see everything.
Right.
I want to see everything.
No, it gets to be a problem. And,
Yeah.
and there are worse problems to have, I guess,
That's
know,
right.
but it's like everything usually happens all in one night.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like,
It's like, no, but So that's why we were hoping part of the 10 o'clock for this was, if you go to something beforehand and it
Yeah.
gets out early enough, you could make it to,
Right.
if you're downtown, you could make it over.
Yeah, and it's also,
part of the
I
fun.
guess, for the younger crowd, it's a nice starter for your evening.
Yep.
For me, that it would definitely be an end. Like that's my closer. 11 o'clock. Like
You're like
clockwork.
putting your nightcap on as during the end of the show.
Exactly
You're
right.
like, really great, everyone.
It's like, oh, that was awesome. Where's my robe?
Toothbrush. Can I just? Yep, getting ready.
Taking off makeup.
You guys are really fabulous. Really, I'm just gonna rinse. Hold on.
So what else is the No Name Players up to?
What are we doing? We have SWAN Day, the 7th annual SWAN Day.
Yes, Swan Day is how I know Tressa.
Yes.
Yes,
Swan Days.
this is our third Swan Day together.
It is. That's right.
Okay, so yes, Swan
So
Day.
SWAN Day is going to be March 14th at the 20th Century Club in Oakland.
Oh wait, you know what? I really
Oh, this is
I really
gonna be
need
good.
to. I really need to pay attention to things. I just assumed it was going to be at the New Haslett again.
That'd be funny. You could go
Yeah.
there, and then we wouldn't be there. And
I'm such a jerk. Okay.
it is. It's our first year at the 20th Century Club, and it is. This building is just. It goes on for days, actually, but it's this old, and it's Art Deco-y, so it's chandeliers.
Oh,
But it's
really?
this really cool space, and so that's where we'll be. And SWAN is Support Women Artists Now
And
Day.
this is Pittsburgh's 5th year?
7th.
7th. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And where did this all start? Like, where did this come about?
So I first heard of it. We were living in Chicago, and the two women who founded this day, one of them was based in Chicago, which is why I think I heard of it. This holiday itself is only 8 years old.
Okay.
So I'd heard about it, and it stayed in the back of my mind because we were in Chicago as actors. We weren't producing shows up there as a company, but I was thinking, okay, when we start producing again, it'd be cool to do something for this day. I don't know what, but okay. And so we came back to Pittsburgh. One of the main reasons was to produce shows again and to do it here. Don's from here as well, and so we're like, yeah, this is where we want to do it. And so this SWAN Day again was in my brain. And so the idea behind it, when they founded it, was just a day in Women's History Month. So it's technically it's the last Saturday in March, but they encourage you to celebrate it any time during March.
Okay.
But just a day in particular that we take time to honor, celebrate women artists
Right.
all over the world, and just the power, of their work. And so we decided, we're like, let's do something. And it's not, you don't have to be a company or an organization to do it. It's like they're saying to just normal people, like, normal people, sane people who don't run
just a regular
theater
old
companies.
schmo.
They're regular folk. Oh, but for everybody, just like, so go, rent films by female filmmakers and just have friends over and watch them.
Yeah.
Or go to, to dance shows that, that are choreographed, the companies run by women, whatever it is for you. Go to an art gallery, whatever. So we thought, as a company, what could we do? And so part of our mission as a company is to work with artists from different disciplines whenever we can. And so we said, well, let's make this all of the things. Let's do all the different disciplines.
All of the art.
We're going to do it all.
All of the art.
It's going to be
Bring it to
amazing.
us.
What could go wrong? So we thought, let's see what happens. And so we wanted that. And so the opportunity to work with artists we don't usually get to work with, and then bring artists together who don't usually work together, right? So you can foster collaboration that way. Have a chance where we can all see each other's work because we never have time to see everything.
Right. Because you're doing something else. You can't go to your friend's show or whatever. And
constantly missing stuff, you know? So we thought, what if we have one night? And then audiences, obviously, you know, maybe you tend to be a theater person, you tend to be a dance person, art gallery person, film person. And so when you do have time, not as an artist, we do have time to go to a show. It's usually these things, right? So now let's mix audiences up because we have a little bit of everything. Maybe you'll get film people and theater people and dance people. And so the idea that the show itself, there's going to be a little bit of everything. You know, every piece is no more than 10 minutes. So, you know, if theater isn't your thing, it'll be over soon. It'll be over soon. 10 minutes.
It's okay.
You're out.
Fine.
You're right. You'll get through it. It'll be fine. But all of that, just the idea of let's see, and then one night, and then of course, so the way we've set it up is all local Pittsburgh artists. And so you know that everything you're seeing is everybody's here. This is being fostered. You know, everybody's here. Their work is around. And all the creating artists are women. So obviously playwrights, choreographers, musicians, but of course there are male actors, male dancers, male, you know, I mean, so it's for men too.
All chicks.
No, not all, but that's the one thing is we thought, so the people, you know, creating the work. But then the idea is it's for everybody. So it's, and it's changed over the years, trying to mix it up a little, change it up for what it becomes. You know, we, give a source of inspiration every year to the artists. As you know. And so in years past, we've interviewed women. One year we went across the state, like interviewed women in Pittsburgh. We interviewed women in Philly. And it was basically asking them questions, just getting them on camera, talking about, you know, we had certain questions that we threw out there. And we would have just 20 some hours of footage. And we would get it down to like an hour and send that footage off to all of the artists and say, use this as inspiration to create something. And so all of the works would have that through line of everybody saw the same material and then seeing everything that came out of that. And one year we interviewed girls and women from every decade of life. So we had like 10-year-olds, women in their 20s, 30s, 40s, you know, that kind of thing. That was, but really it was like, as I said, like a big girls' night. Like we would get these women or girls together and they didn't have to answer certain questions. We had some as prompts, but it was like wherever the conversation went. And the initial idea for that was just, you know, for me, we're all more alike than we are different. And if we had more time to talk to each other, we'd probably find that out. And so I wanted to like bring women together and bring people together just to talk and then using their words as inspiration for these artists to create something is where that all came from.
It's really a great thing. And it's like, I enjoy it very much. I enjoy the evening very much because, like you said, you know, I don't get a chance to like go and experience everybody else's artwork, and it is a great thing to be able to just sit there and everybody's in one spot, and you know, you're mixing mediums, you're mixing audiences, and it's just like this is great. And you know, because I think the first year that I participated was like, oh, I know like half these women already, but I've never had a chance to go and see her perform, or I've never had and it's just a really great time. And I encourage everybody to go out and go to Swan Day, March 14th.
There you go.
11th is my deadline.
2 very important days for you, yes.
So this is your 7th year, and so you're like this old hat to you now. What was that first year like for you?
You know, that first year, we didn't start planning it until January.
Oh, really?
Yes. And it was the first 2 years, it was at the Gray Box Theater, which is a beautiful space in Lawrenceville. And we outgrew it, which is what took us to the Hazlitt.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful space. But it was just a different thing. And I remember being like middle January, and we're like, well, let's just try. And so that year we didn't do the inspiration. What we did, we reached out to artists as far as the interviews and all of that, because of course there wouldn't have been enough time. But that's how the initial year was. It was just reaching out. No one knew what Swan Day was, and most people still don't really.
Right.
Said, you know, but really no one did. And so having to explain like we're doing this thing, and we had just come back from Chicago, so we had done a couple of shows, but then we were gone for 3 and a half years. And so coming back in, and of course there were a lot of people we knew, but then when you're kind of off the radar for people you didn't know very well, really well, right? You kind of are off the radar a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're back. And here's this thing you've never heard of that we want to know if you want to know. And yeah. So in a way, there was a certain freedom to it because we were like, oh, let's give it a whirl.
Yeah.
And then every year it's gotten, I mean, I really start planning it in August, really, is when it starts. So
that's about right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, maybe that first year was amazing because it was only 2 months of time.
You didn't have too much time to overthink it.
Yes. That is exactly right. That is exactly right. But it was wonderful. It was, I mean, that idea, because we have visual art too, I should say, if I didn't say that. And this year specifically, we're going to have live painters, which is going to be great.
Going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Which I always enjoy that.
So we always have, that art gallery. We always, the first couple of years, we actually had the visual art around the playing space because of how the gray box is set up.
Mm-hmm.
But then once we were in the Hazlitt, we used that whole lobby. There's so much space in there to showcase the works that way. So we used that.
So you mentioned you were in Chicago.
Yes.
Why were you there? How long were you there?
We were there, I'm going to say about 3.5 years, and went there as actors, really. I mean, that's what took us there, to audition, to do shows there. We didn't have any
theater, all stage.
Yes. I had to think about that. Yeah, it was theater. And we didn't have anything before we moved there as far as jobs or anything in particular. No.
So you guys just picked up
we
on
did.
A wing and a prayer.
We're like, hey, let's do this thing.
Chi-town.
What
is that, like
exactly.
20s?
Yeah. Oh, it seems like a good idea. So, but we did love Chicago. And it's funny, that's actually where I met Missy Moreno. We met a lot of Pittsburgh people there. There was quite a group of Pittsburghers who had made their way up there. And so, so we actually ended up spending a lot of time together up there.
Nice.
But it's, yeah.
Do you go back often? Or?
We have not been, and it's mostly just scheduling problem, time, to make it back up there. We might this summer, I think. It's our goal.
No, you do both stage and screen acting.
Yes.
Do you prefer one to the other?
I think at heart, I'm a theater person.
I see that about you.
You do?
That's I would imagine that's what you would. I figured you were going to say that. It's just because you're so big, and not in an obnoxious way, but you're just you're very animated, and you come off as, oh, this broad is theater. And again,
wait, I want to get that
on
the back of my or something. Wear them. This broad is theater.
You need like a leather
jacket. Yes, it
says
that.
You're welcome. Okay. You can have that.
Okay, I could just put it on my resume. That could just be.
Yes, that'll be your objective.
This broad is theater. Anything else, anyone? I get. Yeah.
Is there a particular reason why?
I just wonder if it's because I've done it for so much longer. Again, a comfort. If that's the first style, the first form that I did, and so that because there really is nothing like that live audience. The energy you get from that, the idea of like every performance, feedback. And just every performance is a little different every night. What happens in that space on any given night, it will never happen exactly that way again.
True.
And so I think and the new, just all those elements that are just, I don't know, and the idea of starting at the beginning of the story and every night getting to do the journey of it.
Yeah. From
beginning, to end. Because again, I think, but there are a lot of things that I really like about film too. Mm-hmm. The skill set, I mean, the basis of what you're doing is the same, but the skill sets, when you start to get, that's where it starts to vary as far as the skill, for film to be able to drop in, you're doing it out of order, you're doing it.
Right.
And to know exactly where you are emotionally, and drop into this and then go and do the first scene.
Yeah.
And then go and do the last. So you just have to be so specific. And I think that's a really, that skill is huge and how impressive that is to be able to do that. So, so I'm fine. The more that I do it, it is, and I think it does come in, it's a comfort thing. And also when you're a theater person going to film, the bigness with which, that I speak. That pulling back to the point where, as a theater person, you feel like you're doing nothing. Like you'll do, and they'll be like, "Perfect." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I wasn't doing anything.
Barely moved my face.
I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't. I didn't do. I just talked. I said the words. I talked the words. I didn't do anything. That's how it feels. That going in that, Although I guess it's, maybe it's a better thing to have to be too big and pull back than to maybe start and have to find a way to learn how to fill a theater sort of thing.
Yeah.
But so it's those types of things. So maybe it's a comfort, and because it was really what made me fall in love with acting was theater. So that's where kind of,
yes. I get
that's
it.
right.
If you weren't acting, if you were unable to act or be involved in the theater anymore tomorrow, what would you want to do instead? Well, how would you fulfill yourself creatively? How would you fill your time?
Just theater? Is that the only thing? Like
No
so
acting.
Acting.
No acting whatsoever.
Okay.
No producing.
Take the producing. Yeah, I understand. Oh gosh, would teaching it count? No, I couldn't do that. I mean, I teach it now, but that's probably not fair. Like for something totally different. I see what you're saying.
I think
I feel like
yes, we're taking
an
acting.
interior designer or something like that. Or this is not a creative thing, but I often feel like a detective. Like this is coming out of nowhere. I feel like that's sort of because I like puzzles. I like figuring things out. Like I love watching the Dateline shows, the shows about the mystery. It's the mystery of it. It's not the morbidity that some of it is, but it's putting pieces together in a puzzle and figuring out the why, which I guess is what
I'm
we
right
as
there
actors
with you.
do. Yeah. So part of me thinks like, ooh, like some sort of
interesting.
So that's
like
totally on
like
the
a
other end of
sleuth.
things. Yes. I would need a magnifying glass, obviously.
And a
hat.
fedora.
Yes.
And a raincoat.
Exactly. And then, then I would do it. So I feel,
Only then.
yeah, or else no, I don't get out of bed
no
if those things would happen. No. So maybe that. But creative, I feel like maybe an interior designer, some sort of like or professional organizer. Yes.
Really?
'Cause I have that in me. Yes.
Okay, so this must be driving you nutters.
Well, it's okay. Actually, no. Not to the point where it drives me
my
crazy.
workspace.
No. Because it's actually I can because it's comfy. Because I'm a comfy person too. I don't need it to be like. Because sometimes when things
sterile?
are too neat, because then you're like, does anyone actually live here? Then it's weird. It's like I don't believe this is a real place. These walls must be fake. We must go through them in order to the real living space. So that can be weird too. No. It's that organization which helps with the company because that's kind of what a lot of where my tasks come into is like the detail stuff that Don does not want to have any part with because his brain, and that's why it's great because our brains can. So but just the organizing.
Yeah.
I think.
That's a good thing to have. I don't have that. It's like I'm good on paper.
Yeah.
But real life,
not so much.
No.
But sometimes too, when you get back to the real life part of it, it's like I don't have the energy.
No, God, no.
Because it's not like yes, I have that organizer brain, but like it's not like our house is always perfectly. Because sometimes by the time you get home, you're like I cannot do it anymore.
Well, especially being in the middle of production.
Oh.
Forget about it.
No.
There's like boxes and papers and piles and just like stuff everywhere. We've been like eating like frat boys for like a week. Or
yes. Or we actually will be, we'll have a day and we're like, that's what a sink looks like. When all the dishes are done. So that's the bottom of it. That's how deep it is. That's great to know. And you just accept it. That's usually our summers because that's when we do the runs of our longer runs of shows. Oh, there's no grocery shopping.
No, it's more like, I think we can have cereal tonight if you pick up milk.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Home.
Yeah. It's like, no, there's no, these people talk about even weekly shopping. I don't know what that is.
Oh,
right?
About it. I have no idea. Let's say, yes, I plan our meals out by a week. Lords, I am astonished by that.
Yes.
I'm just, like in awe of anybody that can do this. Like, I don't know what I'm going to want. Like in the next 10 minutes, let alone like what I'm going to want 4 days from now in order to make the full meal.
To plan it all out. I know.
God bless you all who can do that because I can't do it. Okay, so we are going to take a break and then we're going to come back with your top 5. Did you know that the Rugged Angel podcast is part of a network of podcasts? Down to Watch is a husband and wife team that chats about music, movies, and TV shows, but has a soft spot for one-season wonders and cult classics. The Scandalized podcast is a group of friends who gather together to get their feelings out after each episode of the Shonda Rhimes hit Scandal. All 3 are Rugged Angel productions and can be found on soundcloud.com/ruggedangel and at ruggedangel.com. You can follow Down to Watch on Twitter at DTW Podcast or like Down to Watch Podcast on Facebook, and you can like the Scandalized Podcast on Facebook as well. That is shocking to me that he didn't leave.
Nope.
Nothing.
Especially my door came open. I thought that'll do it.
Yeah.
Nope, he didn't even move. And then I was like, oh my God, is he gonna? Because like in the North Hill, like where I grew up, we always had deer.
Mm-hmm.
There's, just because it's more there's woods and everything. So I'm used to that. But deer, if you would open a door, they would run away.
Yeah.
So this is a whole other thing
this guy,
happening.
He didn't care.
No, and he was so close that I was like, he could charge me. Is he gonna charge? I don't know.
Thank God that didn't happen.
I was like, all right, where can I? All right. I was like, I had my escape plan. Do I play dead with deer? I don't know what you do with deer. I don't know.
Do I have any salt? Is it a salt lick?
Right, exactly. Like, look. Oh, my God.
Oh.
He's going to be out there. He'll be at my car. When I leave, he'll be like probably next to my car like, where do you think you're going? Can
I just want to. We're just gonna have to charge you for parking space.
Yeah. You can't just come in here.
I'm gonna need some payment, boys.
There was an army out there. There were so many.
Oh,
I'm telling you.
Okay, we're back, and we are gonna get into Tressa's assignment was top 5 female actors. Or actresses. I never know if it's like, do female actors prefer to be called actresses? Because I've read that sometimes it's offensive.
Mm-hmm.
Or do they?
It depends on the person. There's not really a, because I say actor, but if someone says actress about me, I'm not offended by it. Gotcha. It's really an individual thing. Okay. Some women I know, really don't care. Yeah. And then some, right? Yeah. So I think it's just it's an individual thing.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Just as long as you're getting paid.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
All right. Give me your list.
Okay. And may I preface this?
Yes, please.
By saying that I am the worst at any sort of superlative, what's your favorite movie? Impossible. Or even what are your top 10 favorite? Nope.
Really?
No, of course. Although, if someone says favorite movie, it's Godfather 1 and 2.
Okay.
Like those are I can safely.
That's your go-to.
I safely know those 2 things.
Okay. But
then it just branches. There are too many possibilities. So
just people have to get like specific. Like, what's your favorite movie when you're sick?
Yes, or like comedy versus, even though they're all the same. But yes. Anywho, so with these things, it's hilarious because I'm like, it's impossible to choose. You can't choose.
Like Sophie's choice.
It is. I can't do this. Oh my gosh. So that's just something about me that it's impossible. And if Don were here, he'd be like, oh no, you didn't ask her to, oh no, you asked her to choose. We're going to, that's exactly, this is never going to happen. How long is the show? But I have 5.
Okay. And we won't hold you to this. Like, it won't be something like 10 years from now. I'll be like, hey.
Thank you.
Tressa.
Like just a hey now. Now, as I recall.
You gave me these 5. It's laminated.
That's right. You can't change these. You cannot go back. It's tough. And I have some asterisks by them, but I'll explain why. Good. Well, not really. It's like where I have one, and then I'll be like, but then also these couple people are in that same.
So really your list is like 37.
My top 37 actresses of all time.
I should have known when you asked me, like, dead or alive or like current.
I was like, oh my gosh, of all time or just in the last 10 years or whom I've met? Could I just do actors that I know? No. It's taken on a world of its own. Exactly. You can't choose. There's no choosing. So, in no particular order. Okay. Maybe by like whatever. Katharine Hepburn. Okay. Lucille Ball. Ooh. Meryl Streep. Mm-hmm. Viola Davis. Kate Blanchett. Those are my 5.
All right. We have a duplicate because I also created a list.
Oh, okay.
Unlike you, I love lists.
Oh, you
Like
do, and you
that.
can just do it. Like you can just
Usually,
do it.
yeah. I think I have
That's
like
good.
my top 5 movies down now. Like I have those that I know for a fact.
Okay.
It's Psycho, the 1960 version,
Mhm.
The Wiz, Mommy Dearest, Annie, and Fight Club.
That is so wow, diverse. See, and it also depends too. Like Don, for example. I'm going to speak for him. No, but if you say to him, "What's your favorite movie?" His or I should say it this way, it's how people, what makes you say what makes your favorite movie. Like when you were saying, is it when
Okay.
you're sick? Is it your
Yeah.
Because his version is something I can turn on any day at any time and watch it at any point in the movie, like which is part of it.
Yeah.
But for some, he said it doesn't have to be, because for him is Big Trouble in Little China. Okay, and I'm like, what? I had never seen it, of course, until of course I have now. But I was like, I mean, okay, but huh? And his thing was, but no, because for him it's that comfort of, and like Die Hard's in there, which I actually understand Die Hard. But that idea of, no, it's just a feeling you get when you watch it. Because he's like, I watched it when I was younger, and it's kind of this thing. Like, no, it's just I put it on.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable. I enjoy it. It doesn't always, have to be. Oh, it's the best script ever and the best direction ever.
No,
It's a
exactly.
feeling.
Yeah, and I think that's where those 5 fall into. Because if any of them are on TV, I will stop, and I can totally watch and then walk away. And be fine about it, or I'll put it on and I don't need to pay attention fully. It's just, but it's just like I do enjoy, and like also, but like Annie and The Wiz, I really enjoy the music.
Yeah.
Like those soundtracks are on my iPod, and every once in a while, Easy Street will come on as I'm like,
oh, nice.
like in the summer, blaring it.
I love it. Although I am that way with The Godfather. That's how I am. Not the third one.
No.
But the first two, I'm like, no, it's like it didn't happen. But they come on, I'm frozen as if I've never seen them.
Right.
And it's just like I can't stop. I can't.
And you can usually
stop watching them.
And also you know exactly what part is coming up, what has just happened.
Yes.
I've seen all of those like millions of times.
Yeah.
And it's always funny, I guess, when I throw in, it's like it's a very diverse group of films. It's like Annie and Fight Club.
Oh, that's what's so awesome about your list. That's what I love. Because Fight Club, I didn't see it coming. I mean, they all are different, but that really was like, okay.
Yeah. Anytime.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie.
Anytime. Okay. So my top 5 actresses. Angela Bassett.
Oh.
She is very captivating to me. I will watch her in just about anything. And I've watched a couple really bad movies because of her. But such is life.
Yeah.
Faye Dunaway. Good. I really am like, she's so striking. Like I love to watch her. And Viola Davis was my double. She's also another one that's just
can't take your eyes off of her.
No.
Like it's a captivating.
She's very commanding on screen.
And I remember seeing her SVU episodes. I was going to say SVB.
Oh, yeah.
That would be not the
I've
same
done
thing.
That too.
She was always one of the attorneys
Yeah.
for always a defense. I think the defense attorney, and just being everything she does, she is so solid and she's so connected to, and it's just more so like How to Get Away with Murder.
Oh my God!
Stop everything. It's like I can't take my eyes off of her.
I couldn't care less about those kids that are in the show. Like their storylines, the actors, whatever.
Yeah.
But Viola, that is why I'm watching. And I haven't watched the last one. I guess Cicely Tyson was on. And
Okay.
I haven't seen it yet.
You must immediately, as soon as we are finished.
As soon as you leave, that's
when
my plan.
Don and I, what we were saying, those scenes were, to us, and I don't mean this, however, but we were like, that was theater, what we just watched. And not that theaters, but I don't mean it in that way. But it was like, there was just this, that could be on a stage. Like what the work they were doing was just reminding us of something that we could just see the two of them in a live theater doing this thing. And like you almost just wanted to have the whole show be this story and just the two of them, and just what is this? But they're just, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. That's
unbelievable.
Yeah. So that's Viola.
Yeah.
Taraji P. Henson.
Ooh.
Now,
so I haven't seen, go ahead.
You haven't seen Empire yet?
No.
Okay. I don't like Tyler Perry movies.
Okay.
There are 2 that I can stand to watch. There's one with Idris Elba, which but I mean,
I mean, of course.
but I mean, it's actually a good
Yeah.
story. And then there's one with Taraji, and I don't particularly care for the story, but she's another one that just brings it like full force. And what she's doing now with Empire and that role of Cookie Lyons, I believe is the last name. My God, I'm just like rooting for her every breath. This woman is just kicking ass. She is killing it, and I'm loving her for it. Like even she was the Curious Case of Benjamin Buttons. She just had like a really small role, and it's just not. Once again, it wasn't a necessarily like obvious strong woman, but damn, like she just she just blows me away every time I see her in something. So if you haven't seen Empire,
I gotta start.
Terrence Howard is also like they're like it's like an act off between the two of us.
Go. Oh, I love it.
And Vera Farmiga, I think is her name. I think that's how you say her last name.
I think so too. I'm not sure, but
yeah, she surprises me a lot. I've seen her do a lot of different things.
Yes.
And what she's doing on Bates Motel is also like. She's really, because, she's essentially kind of creating this character. Like, all we know is the lore of what Mrs. Bates is, because we know the movie. We know the book. We never really, I don't want to talk about the sequels of Psycho, but, like, we never really know.
On your face.
We never really know who Norma Bates is. But like I think she's doing an excellent job of like bringing it out there, and it's like she's strong but weak and overbearing, but just like there's constantly crossing like on the teetering of crossing this line, this inappropriate behavior between mother and daughter, and it's just like Vera Farmiga is doing an excellent job, and like. And I've seen her been like the trashy New Jersey girl, and she's been like, the Bosnian princess, or stuff like The Conjuring and all those movies. So yeah, she's another one that I would, I like to watch her.
Yes.
So that is my list.
It's a good list.
Thanks.
See, that's exactly the problem. Because now I'm like, of course, all of those people. So now
it took me a while. It took me a while to go through it. I had to go because of the. It took me a really like I was like, what are the movies I like to watch? I don't.
Yeah.
Who am I really? Because like Angela Bassett and Faye Dunaway were immediate for me, and then I had to like go through like my Netflix queue and like the movies that I own. Like
yeah. It's hard because there's so many, and that's why Lucille Ball there's a whole for me comedians and the comedy angle that sometimes can get overlooked just because comedy is hard and harder most of the time than drama to do, and especially for what she did when she was doing it and what she paved the way for. I mean, but you watch that show, what she was doing, it was unbelievable. The physical comedy, what she was doing was just phenomenal.
It's amazing. And I definitely agree. Like Lucille Ball. Yeah. And who else was there?
My little asterisk to her though is that Carol Burnett.
Oh.
And Mary Tyler Moore are that's a whole like that little category of like she did it, but then like you get into because they were just fantastic. Yeah. But again for that same idea. That you can kind of forget, like, no, that's acting too. What they're doing,
right?
Is
No,
actually,
definitely.
You know what I mean?
It's just much more difficult.
It's
I would
that
never.
Other thing.
Yeah, like comedy is just its own animal, and it could it could be done very well, or it can be done very poorly, and you can never. It's no like, you can't really bullshit your way through comedy.
Oh
like,
no.
You can, I guess, it's possible to be like, oh, that's what I was going for in this dramatic role, whatever. But like comedy, like either it's funny or it's not.
You have the timing or you don't. I mean, it's
exactly.
Katharine Hepburn was one.
Yes. I really she was in Philadelphia Story,
yes.
right?
And really that movie alone, like even if she did nothing else.
Yeah. I really like that one.
It's just I think of course I can't say my favorite, but I think that's probably if I had to choose out of the things that she did, that's probably my favorite, like all around. I just love that whole movie. Everything about it. But just what she brings, it's that same thing. It's just, she's so, for me, when I think about it, or if I say, okay, I have to narrow it down. But it's this watchability, but it's, you're just pulled in.
Yes.
And for me, it's people, you forget that they're acting, is how I phrase it.
Right.
You're just watching somebody and you're like, oh God, wait.
Right.
This is not an actual thing. Yeah. So it's just this, and it's everything. They're just, because they're just completely connected.
Right.
Every part of them.
It's like a lot of times people like Cameron Diaz. I'm very aware that I'm watching Cameron Diaz
Yes. That's,
act.
yeah.
But like with a lot of them, we're doing their jobs well. They like you pull you in and you get lost in the character and then the story. And I just read something that the sole premise of theater and like storytelling is to feel first, think about it later. And I realized that that does kind of help with a really good story. That's a good marker, if you will, for what like a really good story is. Like you were feeling everything through it, and then afterwards you're thinking about like, holy shit, like
like, oh, that's what. Yeah. I like that.
Well, then on that note, we are going to wrap it up.
Oh, no.
that is our time.
All right.
That is our hour. Thank you, Tressa, for taking the time. I really enjoyed getting to know you better.
Yeah,
and
me too.
I hate that it took this long.
I know, right?
And this platform.
We'll just keep getting together with microphones, even if they're not on.
Exactly.
And this is how we'll get together. You have to wear this headphones, and like, so how was your day?
Just interview you on a weekly basis.
Yes, I like it.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. This has been a Rugged Angel production.